afterwards. Excellent, good stuff. All right, so we can see and you can hear me. I think very quickly I'll run through what we'll cover right now. The purpose of this session is to take you, our partners, through a helicopter view of inventory replenishment and to also show you the path to getting started on the training and silver certification. And to do that, we'll give you some context around the key problems that we've solved and, of course, how we solve them. Before I even show you the software, I'll give you some behind the scenes around the software. Then we'll do the functional overview, which should get you excited, and I'll close with 7 reasons why you should get into bed with inventory replenishment, quickly confirm the pricing, and then the path towards getting started. The questions and answers section, we should have time for that at the end. Dean, our moderator, will watch the chat box. That's the best way as you go through this webinar. If you have a question, just pop it down or make a note and send it to us afterwards. We will definitely have time for a few questions at the end. Dean will read the question out and give you a reply. If we don't get through everyone, we will certainly get back to you afterwards. Cool. So there we are. Everyone can see in here. You can send through questions on the fly and we're ready to go. So what are some of the key problems we solve with inventory replenishment? Well, every stock heavy or inventory heavy business has the same kind of problems. How do you know what to order and when the goodness do you order the stock? Because if you order too soon or if you have too much money in inventory, it'll use up obviously valuable business capital. If you don't have that stock on hand, well, you can't sell what you don't have. So that costs sales and hurts the business as well. The reality is there's just too much time around guessing what the optimal stock holding should be, as well as what the optimal suggested order should be. So inventory replenishment has solved all of these challenges, as we'll show you shortly. Now, how does it actually solve these problems? Well, once you download and install and connect the business software, inventory replenishment uses a number of formulas that are specific to an exact business. So we'll supply partners with standard SQL scripts, which you can modify. And once you've uploaded those SQL scripts, inventory replenishment will start by trawling through the inventory and has a look at what's in stock right now. It will work out the demand on existing sales orders. It will determine what's coming in on the purchase orders. It will look at the minimum and maximum stock holding. It will also look at optimal batch quantity, or as we found out, also called economic batch quantity. And it will analyze the lead time as well as any particular quotes that have been won and accepted, job quotes that is. So all of that happens automatically, partners. There's nothing for you to do. It happens in the background once you've installed, connected the business system. And once it's gone through that formula, it then produces for the user a suggested order which the user can amend. Once they've amended and they're happy with it, they create the saved purchase order. And because today's session is around Cybus Vision, the user would then use the data automator tool to import that particular XML order into the accounting software. If it's Sage 100, 200, then we'll use that SDK. So that gives you a pretty good idea on the behind the scenes on how inventory replenishment gets to that suggested order. Cool. So let's actually have a look at the software, remembering now that the software is the version that you're looking for is Cybus Vision. We have created a version for Sage 100, 200 that'll take place next month. But the architecture of inventory replenishment is such that it's been written to accommodate pretty much all accounting software. Of course, we'll only focus on the markets that we currently work with, and we'll add those connections as we're ready. So cool. So again, just a quick little context. Partners would head across to the website, the Plus Software Solutions website, click on the downloads page. They would download inventory replenishment. They would connect the actual accounting software, upload the scripts, and the first thing you would find a very useful key info dashboard as such. And the key info dashboard has a few components. There's the top 10 products in danger of running out of stock. There is the inventory value, of course, nominated to your country currency.
Sorry, Pete.
Yep.
I need to interject there quite quickly. Sorry, Pete, we can't see your inventory replenishment screen.
Ah, that's a bit weird. Hold on one second, Dean. Thanks for interrupting me. So let's just try that. What I might do is I might quickly. Can you see the website, Dean?
No, still looking at your PowerPoint presentation with we're on the functionality overview screen.
Okay. So, all right. So that's interesting. Please hold, everybody. I'm not sure why, because it is only one screen that we're using. So I will stop the share quickly and I will regenerate a share. And let's see if we can get that back to scratch. Dean, thanks for interrupting me. Is that screen on now?
It's coming up. I'll let you know. Yep, perfect. We're in inventory replenishment now. Yep.
Excellent. Sorry about that. Not sure why. Anyway, so what you'll see here on the dashboard, of course, is a few points of key info. As I mentioned, the top 10 products in danger of running out of stock. We have the inventory value, as I mentioned, and that'll be in the currency of choice, stock holding by location, and at the bottom, the top 10 overstock products. Now, it's a fairly generic dashboard, everybody, and it's automatically displayed. If you want more detailed dashboards, then Snapshot BI has around about 16 inventory specific dashboards, if I remember rightly, and your customers can trial that for free. So that's the starting point on inventory replenishment. There are two other quick menu items. There's the replenishment menu. And on that replenishment menu, there's the suggest order for jobs, for manufacturing, and for stock. And then there is the settings menu. On the database and the settings, that's where initially you'll set up the software to integrate with the accounting software and a few other settings like where to save the XML file. And under this particular database views here, here's where the real magic happens in the software. So on this particular grid view, we supply you the SQL script for the jobs, for manufacturing, and for stock. So if I click on the job query, you'll be able to see the SQL script. And this is, again, as I say, where the magic happens, because partners can accommodate every single unique inventory or stock business by changing the SQL script here. And just a quick bit of info: product ID, product code, product description, supplier code, etc. Those particular statements there all represent the column headings that you have here: supplier code, product description, supplier name, etc. So again, as a reminder, everybody, the SQL scripts are supplied to partners. It'll immediately give you something to work with, but you can customize it to each and every single business. So that's the actual SQL script area. But I suppose the best way to look at inventory replenishment is to actually do an actual replenishment. So we'll just do one on the stock replenishment as such. And you can see right now a grid. It's a fairly standard grid with standard functionality. If I click on supplier name, I can add columns or take away columns. I can sort on any of these particular items. I can customize it. You understand all of this functionality. You could even sort by product group description. And bearing in mind that this is representative of the inventory holding within the accounting software. So all of that is very, very customizable. But I suppose the average user would start with perhaps looking at the suggested order quantity. You'll notice that that particular field, which you cannot remove, is in blue, and that is the suggested order. If I just click on that, and I'll just find the, let's actually do it in descending order. Let's get that there. Then you'll see that the rows in green, everyone, those are the rows that essentially are ready for processing into a stock order. Now, of course, the beauty, and you saw that immediately, is I can change any of these particular items right now. You know, I could make that 4,000, but it's very unlikely that customers would actually go ahead and process that order right there and then. They certainly wouldn't. They'd probably profile and filter them a little bit, more down to a manageable level. So there's 3 steps to this. You verify the suggested order, you then create the purchase order, and you import it into the accounting. So if we were happy with this, we could just simply, on the replenishment, click on the create save purchase order. But of course, we're probably not happy with that, like most users. So you'd probably sort it maybe by location. So if we look at the location over there, we might say, well, let's have a look at the South Australian orders. And now you can see all those orders are by South Australia. And you might then process the purchase order for South Australia. You can see the filters on at the bottom. I'll remove that filter. Or probably you might want to process it by product group description. So you could process it by accessories. There's no suggested orders there at the moment. Perhaps adhesives, you can see there's some, or perhaps whatever the product groups is, perhaps even by timber as such. So now the beauty on, or another aspect of inventory replenishment is the ability to drill down and view demand and supply against the inventory item. So you can see here, you've got a quantity available, you've got a quantity on sales order and a quantity on purchase order. I right click on that and look at the inquiry. What that will do now is it'll show me the demand against that particular item. So that's the quantity on sales orders or job estimates. Likewise, if I click on the supply, I can now see the purchase orders that are against that particular product. So while we're here, again, to show the customizability of inventory replenishment, the actual calculations for demand and supply, we've put that for you under settings and under the inquiry view inquiries. So stock, there it is there. And you can see select demand. And I'm sure there's a supply here somewhere. There it is there. Cool. So that gives you an idea. But let's just assume we're happy with what we see on that screen now. Bearing in mind you can filter across any number of categories. Then all that would happen is you would create the saved purchase order, and that saved purchase order comes up with the ability to split the records by location or by a warehouse. So that's as simple as that. Now, I won't generate this particular order, but what happens in the background if I do is that inventory replenishment will generate an XML file. It'll download that XML file into a predetermined folder that you'll set up in settings, and then Data Automator will come in with Cybers Vision as the accounting software and poll that folder every down to a minute and import it into the accounting software. So that's pretty nifty. While I'm here, just at the top here, any of the grid that you see available, I can save that data. I can export it as well to Excel, and I can also load previously saved grids as well. So there's a little bit more functionality there for you. Cool. Now, that's as simple as that. On the manufacturing side, it's the same process, except we create a saved manufacturer record. There's a little bit more explanation here, and of course, this being a Cybers Vision partner webinar, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. But in Cybers Vision, of course, the user can choose to start their manufacturing process with either a manufacturer order or a saved manufacturer issue. So in this screen, the user can choose to automatically create either the processed manufacturer orders or the saved manufacturer issues for the items that need to be manufactured. You can also choose to split the records up by sales orders. And what that means is inventory replenishment will include the sales order number in the description field as well. And then the final little choice that is available to the user is that if you have chosen to create manufacturer issues only, you have the option of creating the materials list, which is the list of components required for the manufacturing issue being created. So again, you'll know this in Cybers Vision. When you raise the materials list, you can choose the level of subassembly, which there it is there. So you might have, for example, 3 levels of subassembly, and if you select to generate the material list down to the 2nd level, for example, then it'll only show components that are required down to the second sub-assembly level. So that won't show you, inventory replenishment won't show you the components for the third level. So again, you choose to generate that, creates an XML file, dumps it in the folder, data automator, and you fly. And with job replenishment, same process, create the job orders, but in this case, you can choose to split the records up by jobs and same process. So after that little faux pas, we are through it, and we're almost into the final 5 minutes. I'll quickly pop across to the slideshow. Let's just see if I've got the right one. Yep. There's 7 probably good reasons that I've rummaged around to work out why you should partner inventory replenishment with your customers. Is it?
Sorry, that slideshow just
again?
hasn't popped up.
No,
it's looking at inventory replenishment.
Yep, I'm not sure why. It must be a buggy piece of software. Let's just see, and I'll press start share screen again. And luckily, that's a minor inconvenience. You should see it now, Dean.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Marvelous. So there's 7 good reasons. Number 1, we give partners and I guess customers to some degree a blank canvas. You get this piece of software, you upload the SQL script, and then it's completely transparent, number 1. Number 2, it's easily customizable with the right SQL skills. So that's pretty damn awesome. We also provide different sets of logic, and this is unique too, across jobs, across stock, across manufacturing. It's also the only solution in the inventory automated market with no upfront no upfront software cost. We also do not tie the pricing into the stock holding value, and we don't have any lock-in contracts. That's number 3. It's the only integrated automated inventory solution for small to medium enterprises. So of course you can get higher end inventory solutions, but nothing really in the small to medium enterprises. Of course, we offer free 14-day trial that's up and running quite quick and easy, and it works with any SQL solution. And finally, we share the platform revenue as well with our partners. So super dandy awesome. Right. That brings us to the end of this introduction to our Getting Started training. So if you like what you see there, then you can attend training this month. We are inviting you to the training, and ideally we are limiting it to 7 partner companies. So of course, if you've got 2 or 3 people in your company, we'll take that. And the simple reason for that is to keep the service levels as high as possible. And the process is immediately after this webinar, we'll send the attendees an email which explains the Getting Started training. You just simply have to hit reply with the yes word, and you're good to go. And then we'll send you the links to the Inventory Replenishment app. We'll send you the links to the Getting Started DIY, do-it-yourself, follow the bouncing ball training, which is a combination of downloading the software, connecting the accounting software, uploading the script, and following some basic exercises. And then we'll also pre-book you for the intermediate training. We do that so we get momentum and we keep momentum as well. And then ideally, you would then challenge yourself to complete the gold certification. There's 2 types of certification. There's silver and there's gold. The silver is mandatory. In order for you to move to the intermediate training, you have to do the silver, but gold is a challenge and an option for you. And then ideally, we help you with your first customer. So before I take any questions, just a quick rundown on the pricing. It's $195 per month. There has been a launch special on our website for about 60 days of $150 to the end of August. So how you make use of that, I'm pretty sure nobody's going to run out there and thrust 1,000 sales by the end of August. But if you register your lead, we'll honor it, providing that customer comes live within 120 days from August. So normally $195, $150 till the end of August. No upfront cost, cancel anytime, support included. Wonderful stuff. Plus software modus operandus. Excellent. So after those 2 brief scripts, I'm sure we got through it quite well. Dean, I did see a couple of chat boxes as I was presenting. I don't know, do you have any questions, or were they just answers around, I couldn't see my screen, etc.?
Yep, no, we've got a couple of questions come through that I can deal with right now.
Go ahead.
one of the questions that came in is based on the scripts and the grids that are populated in inventory replenishment and the fact that we provide them, what happens if there are additional fields or custom fields in the database? So that's a pretty good question. Well, everyone is, if you've got the ability, you're an admin user or an SQL user, you've got the ability to go in there and actually customize those scripts. So you can go in there and add in any fields you wish. So if it happens to be a custom or additional field, you've got the ability to add them in, and then they'll pop into the grid. And you can even use those custom fields to manipulate the suggested order quantity calculation. So that was the first question that came in.
Cool.
Another question that came in was, can you see what your stock holding is, like your quantity on hand is for that product per location within the grids of inventory replenishment? So again, yeah, the answer to that one is yes. And it also straight boils down to the SQL query behind that grid. And again, you have the ability to alter that SQL query. And if you just put in the quantity on hand into that grid, into the SQL query, it will then be on the grid and you will see it by location. So, yep, you can do that. And probably the last question we'll go through now is just saying, can inventory replenishment forecast location based orders and then roll them up into a central order? So, yeah, the answer to that again is yes, and it all revolves around you being able to dynamically and to customize that SQL query to fit your exact needs. So if you know how to roll that up and to use windowed functions or any other specific functionality within SQL, you can pretty much do you want. So the answer to that one is again, yes, you can bring it all in and then just do orders, one central order for all the locations. That's probably that covers all those questions, Pete.
Good stuff. Dean, as a matter of interest partners, there is a whole mesh of FAQs on the inventory replenishment page on the Plus Software Solution. So if you're bored at 10 p.m. tonight, have a run through those. That brings us to the end of the introduction to getting started training partners, Australia, New Zealand, and a couple from around the world there. So thank you very much for your time. Just a reminder, we will send you a thank you afterwards with an invite to attend the training. Hit reply to register yes, and we'll get up and running with the following steps. And we'll also send you a recording of this, and thank you so much for your time. Dean, thank you for moderating. Much appreciated. Everyone have a great day or evening.